Hey guys, welcome back to another Aviation Yay trip report. Today I'm here at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to catch a flight with American Airlines on board their Boeing 777-200. How is American Airlines holding up in 2025, and what is it like flying their flagship wide-body aircraft domestically? Join me on this trip report from DFW to LAX to find out. My flight today is operating out of International Terminal D here at DFW, likely because my inbound flight comes from Tokyo's Narita Airport. After heading inside, it was time to say goodbye to my luggage, which brings me to the first point of discussion, American's baggage policy. All main cabin passengers are allowed one carry-on and one personal item. All checked luggage comes at an extra fee. American offers online check-in 24 hours before departure, which is where checked luggage can be purchased, $35 for the first bag and $45 for the second. I found it pretty annoying that you aren't able to add checked luggage on the American app until the check-in window is open. Regardless, you can always pay for luggage at the airport, albeit for an extra $10. I used the self-serve kiosks for tagging my bag and printing my boarding pass, which was pretty straightforward and relatively seamless. In typical DFW fashion, there was an absurdly long line for TSA, and after about 50 minutes, I was airside. Most of this wait, though, was due to the large number of passengers without real IDs. Since there were only 2 officers, only one was left scanning passengers' IDs whenever someone with improper identification came along. So this serves as your reminder, everyone, get your real IDs ASAP. Our gate today is C36, which is a decently long walk from the security checkpoint. It would be great if DFW had some moving walkways throughout the terminal, since I'm sure I'm not the only one who walked back and forth between shops, restaurants, and my faraway gate multiple times. Well, what can I say? At least it's not Istanbul or Delhi. With departure time come and gone, there were still no signs of a 777, let alone any aircraft. And after checking the airport monitors, it looks like we have our explanation. Now, I don't normally mind 30-minute delays, but I doubt it will only be that, as the inbound flight is going to be pretty destroyed after the 13-hour leap from Narita. Oh, and I should have mentioned our flight today is AA3007, which is also a codeshare flight for Iberia, Qatar, Air Tahiti Nui, and Gulf Air. And here's my ride this afternoon. November 787 Alpha Lima, a 25-year-old Boeing 777-223ER powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Trent 800 engines. It was delivered new to American in April of 2000. And this is exactly the point where things took an unexpected turn. Let me explain. While waiting to board, I noticed a rather candy-decorated captain walk on board the aircraft. He was then followed by the crew, who were carrying, shall I say, rather sparkly decoration items. I wonder what this means. Well, let's board this 777 and find out. American's 777-200s are in a 3-class configuration, with 37 reverse herringbone Collins Super Diamond business class seats in a 121 config, 24 Collins MIQ premium economy seats in a 242 config, and 210 Safran Slimline 5751 economy seats, 66 of which are sold as main cabin extra and feature 3 inches more pitch. My home for the next 3 hours is 29A in main cabin. As far as economy seating goes, the pitch on American's 777 is nice at around 31 inches. There is also good seat recline, adjustable headrests, and both USB and AC power ports for every passenger. Seats do feature IFE screens, however it's worth noting that this is standard only for American's wide-body fleet. They are present on some remaining A319s and A321 transcons, but those are either extremely rare or slowly being phased out. So don't expect to see this flying on any of their narrow bodies like the 737-800 or the A321neo.
They'll reopen bins that are closed. Okay? Make a horseshoe from the galley. That's the front of the aircraft.
I know, I said you'd find out what's so special about this flight when I got on board. Well, truth be told, this was actually the final flight for a retiring captain on board. I'm pretty excited to get to LAX because I know what usually happens when a pilot retires from flying, and also, it's definitely not every day I get to fly on a 777.
Folks, again on the right side of the aircraft towards the front, I'm looking down the aisle and I see bags sticking out or in the vents. The vents will not close the way they are.
41 minutes, wheels up to wheels down. The weather should be good there. Might be a little hazy when we roll in there with the fuel gloom. We'll start to move in as we get closer to sunset, but good ride across the southwest. And we'll get you as close to on schedule as we can. Obviously, we're already late, but we'll do our best. And appreciate you joining us. I'm also honored to have my family on board. As most of you know, this is my retirement flight, so I get to bring Again, thanks for joining us. We apologize for the delay. Thank you for your patience. Welcome aboard.
With boarding complete, we push back for an on-time departure off of runway 18 left. Our route today took us south and then west out of Dallas, crossing over Fort Worth, Abilene, Midland, El Paso, Phoenix, Joshua Tree National Park, and Palm Springs, before eventually making a straight in for runway 25 left at Los Angeles. Total flight time today was 2 hours and 37 minutes, cruising at 38,000 feet. After reaching cruising altitude, the cabin crew began the in-flight service, and food and beverage offerings is where other U.S. carriers have American beat. Passengers were only served a single Biscoff and a drink. While this may not be inherently bad, it's certainly far below the standards set by other airlines. For example, when I flew United from O'Hare to LAX, there were not only 2 beverage services, but multiple snack choices offered with extras stocked in the aft galley. Even on Southwest from Austin to Phoenix, I was given both pretzels and cookies alongside the standard drink. Oh well, this will have to do for now. After the in-flight service began, we hit some pretty moderate turbulence, so I took the opportunity to check out American's IFE. Seatbacks feature 9-inch HD touchscreens that also utilize remotes. Their system offers a decent selection of movies, TV shows, and a detailed flight map with a cockpit view. Overall, I found American's entertainment system to be solid. The screens were a bit on the unresponsive side, but with the use of built-in remotes, it worked just fine. Also, it's worth noting again that most flights on American this length will not feature IFE, but rather a bring-your-own-device approach with entertainment available through the American app. I strongly dislike this approach, especially given how unreliable in-flight Wi-Fi connection can be. Passengers will be left with no entertainment if Wi-Fi remains not working. However, formulate your own opinion on that one. And as a fan of Noel Phillips, I certainly wouldn't be missing the opportunity for a Lou review. So as soon as the turbulence died down, I headed to the back to check it out. It was clean, and being on a 777, pretty spacious. I did appreciate the presence of paper cups for those who may have wanted to brush their teeth, although I presume those were only there because the aircraft had come in from Narita on the flight before. Nonetheless, satisfactory. Now that we're on our descent and approach into LAX, it's time to talk about today's flight. The cost breakdown is on the screen as well. Overall, I would say my experience on American today was satisfactory. Honestly, it's hard to understand why people hate them so much. However, I'm not endorsing their product by any means. It has almost no competitive edge against most other US carriers, and while today's flight did feature IFE, most other domestic flights of theirs do not. The in-flight service offerings were also on the disappointing side, and with this flight being just shy of $250 one way, the value for money is really not there. However, one thing definitely stood true, and that was the cabin crew. I've heard a lot of talk about American cabin crew being rude and unfriendly, especially towards cameras and filming, but my experience today was quite the contrary. Cabin crew were super kind, proactive, and helpful. Would I recommend American? Probably not, but I wouldn't say American is bad by any means. It's just that there are so many better options out there to spend your hard-earned money and or points on.
Local time in Los Angeles, 8:21 p.m. As a reminder, please stay seated.
Water cable.
If you are seated next to a window, they are doing a water cannon. We're going under a water cannon for the captain's retirement. If you'd like to give a round of applause.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, to this Captain Shaw, thank you again for being with me on my retirement flight, for your patience while the Airport Fire Department shows some honor to me. It's a great privilege, and I appreciate you all being with me. So pulling into the gate here, we do a tow in here. Unfortunately, I know y'all want to get going, but what happens is it's a tight gate, so we pull in. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, thank you. After an amazing water salute, we taxied to gate 41, which is stated requires a tug-in. Review aside, I have to say from an AvGeek perspective, this definitely has to go down as one of the coolest flights I've been on. It was nice to finally take the 777 off my aircraft to fly on list, and it was an honor to be along for the ride on Captain Shaw's retirement. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.